All right, well, welcome. This is a really exciting evening for me and hopefully for you as well. You're going to watch five of us delve into the brand new nutrition line and demonstrate various recipes with our own little bells, whistles, and tweaks. And in addition to that, I'm going to create kind of a meal in a bowl. If you've ever had a Buddha bowl, this will be a Thai, sort of Thai inspired lemongrass grilled chicken. It could be any protein you want though, so don't be bound to chicken. I will post this recipe afterward, and then I will come back toward the end, and I'm going to put together a Asian slaw that has cellophane noodles. We'll talk our way through all those ingredients if they're foreign to you, and put it all together. And in between, we've got smoothies and snacks and desserts and breakfast treats and everything in between, using all of the brand new nutrition line products. So there's two whey proteins, chocolate and vanilla, and then there's a vegan vanilla option that's so plant-based, of course. And then we've got greens and fiber, and you're going to see a little bit of everything. All right, so let's go. Now, you may not easily be able to see me. I do want to talk about a couple of ingredients. I made my marinade for my chicken ahead of time. Okay, it called for 2.5 pounds of chicken. I used chicken breast, boneless, skinless, and I couldn't find lemongrass to save my life yesterday. My Asian stores were closed. The grocery stores had lineups, and I just figured, you know what? I have oils. So I put lemongrass essential oil in the marinade, but for tonight, just for production values, I'll show you how to deal with lemongrass. Okay, so the marinade itself is just lemongrass. So for each stalk of lemongrass, I used about 3 drops of essential oil. Okay, so if you've never handled fresh lemongrass before, it is not a citrus, it's a grass, and it has some hard woody outer stalks. I would take the ends off, and then that's what the cleaver is for. I would give it some hard bashes. I'm not gonna do it right now. I've cut one up, but I would bash it to break it up, and then I would mince it with a really sharp knife. You don't need a meat cleaver, but I just like it. Okay, this is the best thing ever. This is my husband's grandmother's best gift to me, and it's one of these old school mini chops. It is, I don't even know if this company still exists, but I'm going to put my shallot, my garlic, and my lemongrass in here and just whiz it up. So I'm going to save a lot of chopping. I hand chopped earlier. But okay, so I called for a big shallot. I've got 2 small shallots and 2 extremely fat garlic cloves. I think I said 3 to 4, but we're going to use 2 monsters. And I am not going to chop. I'm going to put them right in, and we're just going to whiz them up. So sorry if this is noisy, but it's going to take about a second. And this thing is so cool. It'll go both ways. You can mince it one way and the other way. It's better to actually chop, but it'll still go. I don't know if you can see this, but it is going. All right. It's not fully chopped because it's very full, but look at that. Like, it's already going. So I'm going to leave it because I've made this already. So I've got in here 2 tablespoons of honey. Could use maple syrup, whatever you like. I'm going to dump all my goodies in there. Hang on. Here we go. Yep. I have a couple tablespoons of, I believe this was avocado oil, that's going in. All right. Now I've pre-measured these things, but I want to talk about soy sauce and fish sauce. Fish sauce is like a Vietnamese, Thai, Lao, Cambodian kind of condiment. It's a lot like soy sauce, super salty, and a lot like anchovies. So if you don't do fish, you may want to leave that out. And if you don't have it, that's okay too. You could just use soy sauce. So 3 tablespoons of soy sauce instead of 2 tablespoons and 1 fish sauce. But if you're a Liam Perrins Worcestershire fan, you could sub that for the fish sauce and it would go in a different direction, but still be really good. So a note on my soy sauce, I'm using tamari tonight. This is a wheat-free, gluten-free option. I like it because it's got a lightness that Chinese soy sauce doesn't have. I find that one super salty, super heavy, super thick, and sometimes has some spurious add-ins like caramel color that I don't think are necessary. So I like that one. I have some others here. I have tamari light. My husband bought this. I actually think this is a ridiculous ripoff because it's basically this with water added for the same price. So if you want to bring the sodium down, water it down. Just use less. I have Kikkoman. So this is a Japanese soy sauce. I find this one quite salty. It's why I didn't choose it, but it's very good quality. And then last up, maybe you're a liquid aminos fan. This is Bragg's. So this is another, tastes a lot like soy sauce, but you need to taste it, make sure you like it, and then go a little bit easier on it. So options are unlimited. I wouldn't just leave it all out entirely and go salt. I think you're not going to be happy. So come up with something that suits your taste. I'm going to dump that in. So that's my 3 tablespoons right there. 2 soy sauce, 1 fish sauce. I've got a half teaspoon of black pepper. It's going in. This is a real dumb recipe right now. And that is really, that's it. I would put it on my chicken. I've put in my recipe that I would either use cutlets, or if I had if I got boneless, skinless breasts, I'd take the tenders off and pound them so that they go flat. Otherwise, you're going to have to split it. And that's a job, right? Who needs that? So I left one that I pounded, and I'm going to grill that off camera. And the rest of them, I actually wound up cutting into strips, and I'm going to cook them tomorrow night. So I'm going to pass this over to Josie. And while Josie's doing her thing, I'm going to be silently cooking my chicken breast so that you can see the finished product later. All right, so there we go.
Thank you, Joanna. That was very informative about soy sauce. I'm excited to learn every day when I talk to you about cooking. I am just going to put on my apron, and I just had to stand here so I could unmute myself. I have a nice Italian Sicilian mama apron. It literally was given to my mother by my Nona, and it is mine now that mom gave to me. So forgive me for the attire. But chocolate protein cake bites. This is what we're going to make in my kitchen today. And this is a recipe from the doTERRA cookbook that was sent out from the nutrition line. So these cake bites, I have prepared some ahead of time so that we could see what they're like and see them a little bit ahead of time, because these take, by the recipe, 10 minutes to cook in the oven, very short time, but my oven usually takes about 15 minutes. It's just a little bit cooler, it seems, than other ovens. So I've prepared everything ahead of time. The ingredients that we're going to be using in here is a natural cashew, almond, or peanut butter. I have chosen to use almond butter. We're also going to use pumpkin puree. I've got those pre-measured and set aside. Basically, it's super simple. It's a half a cup, and half a cup of honey or agave. I love maple syrup. So we're going to start off with that, and then we'll get into adding the dry ingredients. So super simple. I've made this now 3 times because my family has eaten the first bunch like crazy. So I made more today, and this will be the 3rd time making them. So I'm just getting out my almond butter. We like almonds, so that's what we're going to use. And then I'm going to put in my half a cup of pumpkin puree. Super simple. I love recipes that can be made in under 10 or 15 minutes because I have children who get eager to eat our goodies. And the simple fact that this uses pumpkin and the almond butter was surprising to me that my children actually really enjoyed it, because they're not almond butter or pumpkin fans, but in here they loved it. So I'm going to put in my maple syrup. So a half a cup of maple syrup. Like I said, you can use honey or pure maple syrup. I suppose if you have other types of syrup that you like, you could test it out, but the recipe calls for those 2. Now, first, what I'm going to do is whisk these ingredients together. Now, love my husband for trying to cook and bake, but in the past, he whipped everything together, everything. He was making cookies with my daughter, and he put the wet ingredients and dry ingredients and everything together and thought it would just come out just fine. And it was a lesson in baking, because when you do that, it doesn't work. So please be sure that you just whisk up these wet ingredients first. The recipe is very detailed, so it's written nice and simple to follow. So the next thing is the eggs. So it calls for 2 large eggs. I use farm fresh eggs. So I have 2 of those. And what you want to do is with this recipe, you want to put 1 egg in at a time and mix it up. And it specifically says that add eggs 1 at a time to the mixture, making sure each egg is fully mixed in. So there's 1 egg. And again, it's a quick recipe, so you don't have to try to put everything in at one shot just to be fast, because it goes pretty quickly, even if you're following the directions as listed on the recipe. So many times we try to cut corners and then we wonder why things don't turn out exactly the way we had hoped. So there's the eggs. That's it. That's quick and easy. Now the next step, just get my cloth here because when I crack eggs, my fingers get icky. The next step is to fold in the dry ingredients. And I love this. When I say this to my husband, he laughs because we are Schitt's Creek fans. And if you've ever watched it, there's an episode where they're baking and Moira and her dear son don't know what folding is. So we always laugh at this. If you don't know what folding is, watch the episode and have a good laugh, but I will show you. And Joanna, you could probably correct my method of folding because you probably do it more often than I do. So the dry ingredients, I think folding is more of a baking thing, but the dry ingredients calls for almond flour. So 3/4 cup of almond flour. And again, it's pre-measured. I'm not just throwing it in. My mise en place prep dishes are actually measured. So I'm putting in my almond flour, and then cocoa powder. So the cocoa powder is 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. And then in my 2 little containers here, I have a 1/2 teaspoon salt and a 1/2 teaspoon baking powder. Or sorry, baking soda, not baking powder. Now, what I'm going to do is all my ingredients are put in there. I'm just going to fold it in. So with it, if anything, this just takes a little bit longer because you're kind of scooping and folding. You don't want to mix it with a mixer. You don't want to mix it with a whisk or anything, because this is to get the light and fluffy flavor or texture that we want in this. Is really important just to fold everything in. And every time I say that, I keep thinking of David and Moira from Schitt's Creek. If you guys are fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. So
making the enchiladas.
Yes, just fold it in. What does that even mean? Well, David, you should know. Just fold it in. But Mom, what does that mean? Sorry, I'm just passing time while I'm quoting Schitt's Creek as I'm folding in. There we go. So I folded this in, and that is it. The next thing I'm going to do is wipe my fingers. I got some on there. Is put this into my muffin, my prepared muffin tin. Now it says to spray your muffin tin with an oil, and I think my husband put it away, but I have these silicone muffin holders that are reusable that I don't need to spray. If you don't have them, then you do want to spray your muffin tin, whether it be a tin or a stoneware. So I use stoneware, and this is the part that takes a little bit longer because the mixture is rather thick. So I'm just gonna, it might get a little bit messy here, bear with me. I'm just gonna plop this in, fill it about halfway because they do rise up. I should have used a smaller spatula for this. I'm not usually the neatest of bakers, but I'm great at baking and terrible at cleaning up this mess that I tend to make. Thank God I have a husband who likes to eat what I bake, and he doesn't mind cleaning up. So now I'm going to put this in. No need to watch me do all of this. I'm going to put it into my oven once I fill all of this up to a 375-degree oven. They're going to cook by the recipe standards 10 minutes. By my standards, they're actually going to cook for about 14 minutes. But you can also take some, fill it in a, put it in a mug, and microwave. Just I usually put about 1/4 cup of the mixture in my mug because this will grow. And I'm going to microwave it for 30 seconds. And you can bear with me for about 25 more seconds, I will show you the finished result. What I did for my dessert today is I put raspberries on top of my cup, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, took it out, and as it rose, it sucked in the raspberries, and nothing better for me than the flavor of chocolate and raspberries together. So 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, beep. And you can't really see it, but it's gooey. Here, I'll come a little bit closer. It's a cake and it's nice and gooey. It rose in there. It's hard to see in here, but it's nice and gooey on the inside and caked on the outside, and it is delicious. Thank you for letting me show you that towards the end. If you want, I will share them with you. I will eat them.
Sounds delicious. Thank you so much. You know what? Like, you could have your own little cooking show. That was awesome. Okay, so you might see here now, it's a little snowy today. I was intending to run outside and grill my chicken at one point, and then I kind of came to my senses and thought, let's use the indoor grill. I have one of those. It's not a George Foreman, but it's a Cuisinart griddler kind of combo. So I just did my chicken breast inside. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. We're gonna let it rest anyway, and I will slice it up. But I've really pounded it flat, and then it's got nice grill marks on it, so I'm happy. It smells great in here. My next recipe, we've moved to a different part of my kitchen here. I hope you can see the ingredients. They are the vegan peanut butter bars from page 18 of the nutrition book. However, I've made changes. So in an effort to profile the whey protein, the vanilla whey, I swapped that in. So these are no longer vegan. And it does have honey in it, so technically not vegan anyway, unless you're a vegan that likes honey. And then I've chosen peanut butter. It was peanut butter. I ground my own almonds because I don't have any almond flour. And instead of white chocolate chips, I'm going with some unsweetened dried cherries, which are super, super tangy. So that's going to take it in a slightly different direction. And because I have to, you could call it gilding the lily, I have to add oils to everything. So to this, I think that the combination of almond and cherry would lend itself nicely with cinnamon and cassia. So that's what I've chosen. Okay, so I have here some old-fashioned oats. There's 2 cups of, those are the rolled oats. So those are not the quick cook, the full flake oats. I'm gonna drop my 1 cup of almond flour. It's pretty gritty, but we're gonna eat it, so I'm not too worried about that. It's got 2 scoops of the vanilla whey protein, and they're rather large scoops. I would say they're about 2 ounces per scoop. So it looks like about 4 ounces of that powder. Putting that in. It did not call for salt, but I think when it comes to baking, salt is the game changer. Everything, it just has a bit of a flatness until you pick it up with salt. There's a reason that salt is used as a seasoning, okay? It's like MSG, it's an enhancer. So I've used just a few grinds of my Himalayan pink salt. Could have been any salt. It's what I had. Okay, so I'm just giving it a quick mix. I hope you can see this. And then in goes this is actually 50% honey, 50% maple syrup. I don't usually use honey, but I ran out of maple syrup. So it's a 50-50 split. Nice Canadian A-grade maple syrup. And that's the light one. I prefer the dark maple syrup, but I just didn't have access to it. We're kind of limited here in pandemic times. We get what we get. Okay, so I'm just gonna get that out of my way. I have a cup of peanut butter here. I am obsessed with peanut butter. I could have used a different one, but I like the fact that this is really liquidy and it would pour. So less work for my poor hands when making balls. Now these are technically bars. I could have put these on a tray, let them firm up about 1 inch thick, and then cut them into bars. But just for the ease of putting this together tonight, what I'm going to do is just roll out a ball or 2, and then we'll move along. So I haven't actually added my essential oils. I probably ought to have done that. in my honey and my maple syrup, but I haven't mixed yet. So we're all good. I think that this could take 2 drops of each. And the reason I chose both is cassia to me reminds me of, those old, like baking mixes or Quaker oatmeal. It's kind of viscous. So you just kind of have to wait till the drops drop. So it's got a slightly different smell from pure cinnamon, which to me smells like those red hots or those hot tamales, those candies. I actually prefer it, but it's got such a strong flavor. I kind of feel like the two together balance nicely. So I'm going 2 drops of each. You can adjust to taste. That might be a lot for you, or it might not be enough. I might have done more, but we're on camera. I'm holding back. Okay, and then I'm going to throw my cherries in. These are amazing. I have to hide these from myself, or I'll eat the whole mason jar. And that's it. We're gonna mix them up. If we weren't on camera, I'd go in here with my hands right now, but gotta be classy. Keeping it classy. And I'm gonna stir it as quickly as I can because I don't want you to sit here and watch me, get my workout for the day. I'm on my tippy toes. Oh goodness. My next kitchen will have like an extra low counter just for short people. It won't, because then you can't sell the house. But it's a nice idea. Okay, I'm not going to stir and stir and stir, but what I will do is I will get in with my hands and just make sure it's really well combined. And it's so much easier to make balls. I think it's therapeutic. It's like playing with Play-Doh. Just make them into balls. You can choose your size. They could be little dainty 1-inch kind of 1-bite balls, or they could be 2-bite power balls. I'm going with the 1-inch because that's what came out in my hand. And there you go. It's like little Italian meatballs. And these you just firm up in the fridge, or if you have no self-control, keep them in the freezer. So then you got to take them out and let them soften up before you eat them. And then maybe you'll think twice before you eat 6 more, because that's a lot of protein. Okay, so that's it. I will finish doing this off camera. Should make, actually at this size, it'll probably make about 24, but it was going to make 12 bars. So they actually smell really, really good. I might have to suck it up and eat one like now. Okay, so onward and upward. Next up, we're doing a breakfast smoothie. And this is going to be the vegan smoothie. I'm going to let Karen Taglieri take it away and talk about it and tell you about all of her personal preferences and tweaks to the recipe.
Thank you, Joanna. Mine's not as interesting because I have been using the shakes from doTERRA for about 1.5 years now, and I love the protein and the greens shake. And I was really kind of worried about getting the new shakes because I've loved them so much and I've enhanced them quite a bit. And I've never had an issue with, and that's the first time I haven't had an issue with a protein shake because I've not liked them prior to this. So I was a little bit skeptical, but when I first made the very first one, and I put I've kind of done this a little bit ahead of time so I don't have to do so much, but I usually would do juice before, and I would always take and make it with any kind of fruit juice. Strawberry kiwi was my favorite I would go to. But after Joanna, talking with her, I decided I'm going to try it with water, and I'm going to try and cut out a little bit more sugar. So I put in my 8 ounces of water, and I have taken some fruit and I've put it in here. And I do my fruit in a very special way my mother taught me. I take and I do a cookie sheet, and on the cookie sheet, you wash your fruit and then you kind of tap it dry. Then you lay all the fruit out individually, not in the bag. I just left it in there so it doesn't get dirty. But you lay all the fruit on the tray and you stick it in the freezer and you leave it in there for a couple hours till it freezes solid. Then you can take them, scoop them all off, put them in the bag, and they will not stick together. They'll be in there and you can pull out a couple, which I pulled out a few blueberries, I got some blackberries, and I got raspberries in here. And I've got my cup of water, and I did this for my smoothie this morning because I have it every day as my lunch for sure. And because in the mornings I'm kind of rushed, so I have something that's a little bit more solid, and then my day's so busy, I like this to be my lunch. But I took and I used kefir yogurt, and it's a probiotic. It's organic, and I've got my little bit in here. I'm going to add that to it because you have to really shake that stuff, and I didn't want to have to sit here shaking it for you. And then I have pre-mixed I do the protein, and the vegan one, and I do the greens and I do the fiber. And I was super excited about the fiber. And when I go to work, because I don't want all the powder sitting in there from morning till afternoon, I mix up all of the liquid ingredients first, and I take this to work with me. And then I'll show you what I do. I'm going to mute myself 1 second here. Just so now that I've done that, I'm gonna stick that on there so I don't make a great big mess. I will add in my protein shake, all of the ingredients I'm going to put in my cup here. Because now I take this to go to work. So I'm going to stick this in here. And normally I would have just my liquid ingredients in here, and I would put my cap on, take it to work. And at work, I would dump the powder in here, and then I just shake it up. And I'll tell you, today was the first day I had it with water and the yogurt, and I was impressed. I didn't need juice to make it sweeter. And for me, I'm all about the sweets. So this was amazing to me that I could actually do something and cut out a little bit more sugar. There goes. It's really good. I wish I could share it with everybody. Thank you, Joanna. I hope everybody enjoys it and gets to get some soon and try it. It's amazing.
Before we move on, I think I should perhaps talk a little bit about the protein. I think this is going to be covered in our 21-day challenge. So I opted not to do a big preamble about the various proteins, but I really love this reformulated product because where the previous one had sugar in it, this one is using monk fruit and stevia, so more natural sweeteners that don't have grams of sugar. So it's not going to have that sort of glycemic blood sugar spike and then subsequent crash. So, and it's also, I think it's 21 grams of protein, so better and more complete protein profile. And all of them taste good. They're not gritty.
No, it's delicious. All three of them mixed together.
They're a little sweet, but they're not super duper sweet, like candy sweet. So if you're adding fruit to it, it's, you know, you can make adjustments thereafter. So just using water instead of a nut milk or a juice, but then you could put raspberries or strawberries or bananas or whatever you like. And there is some sweetness to the greens and the fiber as well. So
yes. Yeah, I put them all three together and I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, I really like that idea because I'm not likely to stir greens into a glass and just chug it back. And although the fiber is not bad, like it tastes pretty good. I tried it dipping a banana in it the other day and it was pretty tasty. I could do that on a regular basis. I like the all-in-one smoothie concept. I think that's brilliant. And then you can adjust too if you need to ease into the fiber. You choose how much to use. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to pass the baton to Karen Kalibaba.
Okay.
Fiber.
So I'm going to show you a sneak peek because I made these 2 days ago because I figured with working a little bit late today, I may be running late and I didn't want you to have to wait because it takes about 17 minutes or so for them. So I made them and I made 18. Okay, it makes 18. I have 3 left. Okay. My husband, myself, and my dad live here, and I'm not going to tell you how many I ate, but they are very, very good and not overly sweet, but really satisfying. So what I wanted to talk to you about, the one that I'm highlighting tonight is the fiber, and I am so impressed. I just want to give you a little bit of background on the fiber. It actually is right on the bag here, but really, really important for adults to get 28 grams of soluble and insoluble fiber every day. It really does help control appetite. So if anybody's looking to sort of, you know, quell the sweet tooth and maybe really feel satisfied, you'll find with adding fiber that really helps. It also helps optimize your blood sugar levels. So the insoluble fiber is very, very good, if you didn't know, for your digestive system as well. So my dad is upward of 92 And so we always have to look as we age, especially sometimes we run into problems with our digestive system. So that's really great. So even with most people's healthy diets, they usually only maybe get half the amount of the fiber that they actually need. So the nice thing about this one is the insoluble fiber comes from whole food sources like apple, chicory root, Jerusalem artichoke, and flax seeds. So it's also got a little bit of lemon essential oil, which really tastes great, and a unique probiotic blend to help your healthy microbiome. So hopefully you guys all join in our challenge that's going to start at the beginning of February, and I'm sure that this will be part of it as well. So if you wanted to, with this fiber, you could actually just take a scoop and mix it with 10 ounces of water and drink it. It tastes pretty good, but I did this recipe and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to start here. It's the fiber oat cup, and what I did is just prepped everything a little bit ahead. So I started with 3 ripe bananas. Yeah, so I actually had made it already, and the bananas that I got for my second bout that I'm making today weren't quite as ripe, but they seem to mash okay, so I was happy with that. Hopefully it'll turn out well. The first 18 that I made, I used almond milk. This time I'm going to try coconut milk. So I have that. I'm just going to add it. I hope you can see me here. I'm just adding that to the banana. And then I have a 1/4 cup of honey, just to add a little bit of the sweetness to that. I'm going to add that honey in here, a little bit ooey gooey. And of course, I imagine you could substitute it for some agave or something different if you wanted to, but I actually really like honey. I'm going to add the honey. I also have my little shot glass here with a teaspoon of vanilla. Add that in. And I have 2 large organic eggs that I'm going to dump in there. And what I did is I put all my dry things together. So I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, a teaspoon of kosher salt, and then my 2 scoops of the soluble fiber here. So I'm just going to add that all in, mix it up. I'm going to grab my better spoon here. I hope you guys can see me. Anyways, it all mixes up well. And then it also has 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in there as well. So I just picked this all up at Costco. I got some organic chia seeds here. And then I'm going to add my oats. So I have 3 cups of the Old Farmers Market. They're actually gluten-free sprouted oats. So I'm just adding that in here now. Mix them all up together, and it called for bittersweet chocolate, so I did actually go with the chocolate. Oh, I forgot to add my fiber. I thought it was already in there. It wasn't, so I'll add that in. There's my fiber, and that just mixes up all nice together. And then you could always substitute the chocolate if you really didn't want to have the chocolate. You could substitute maybe it for like some dried berries, some blueberries or something like that. I'll probably maybe try that next time. And then basically, there it is. Mixes up really easily. No, not even necessary to use in a mixer or anything like that. And then I already have prepared my 18 baking cups. So I'm just going to put that in, and I'll put it in at 375 for 17 minutes. Then just take it out, put it on a cooling rack for about 5, and they are delicious. You can store the leftovers for 7 days. You can either keep them room temperature or put them in the fridge. I put them in the fridge hoping I wouldn't eat so many, but you know, hey, they were good, really, really good. So hopefully you'll try this recipe. I know I'll make it again, and I'm hoping maybe Joanna and I and maybe Josie can like exchange some of the stuff we made. So anyways, thank you for joining us.
I would love to do that. I have a lot of things here. I'd be happy to
Yeah.
do a share for local friends. That sounds so good. We should keep that going.
I imagine that it probably could freeze too. Like, I don't see why not, right? The texture should be okay, but I don't think it'll last. I mean,
think so.
7 days
And the
in my
balls,
fridge, they'll be gone.
the balls are amazing. I'm gonna need to freeze those and then get them out of my house.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna need
That's the
24 of them.
problem. But you know, this is really, there's really not a lot of honey in it. So that it's not really sweet. It's got that little bit of chocolate, but it doesn't seem, it's not overly sickening sweet, which is really nice. It could almost be like a breakfast or a snack.
You had me really thinking with
Yeah.
the agave. I find
Yeah.
agave has kind of like a toasty, caramelly kind of flavor that's really good too. I didn't
Yeah.
even really consider that, but I like maple syrup. That was my choice.
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We've shifted yet again. I'm on to the next section of my kitchen. I don't know if you can see, this is going to be a bit tough because I have everything prepped in advance. Let's just start by talking about cellophane noodles. Okay, so here's what they look like. They come in bundles and they're almost unbreakable. Like they're super, super strong. You can't do anything with them in this form. They're meant to be soaked. You can soak them in cold or warm water and then cook them quickly. But I take a bigger shortcut, which is I pour almost boiling water over them and let them sit for about 10 minutes and they're basically cooked. So at that point, they're like these big, long strands. And I have some here that I did earlier. Once they're soft, I take kitchen shears and I literally cut them into noodles. So they're basically, they call them cellophane because they're kind of translucent. And they're not necessarily lower calorie, but they're definitely less starchy than like a wheat flour noodle. So I like the fact that 1 or 2 bundles could actually serve a bunch of people. My slaw recipe is going to make enough. It's going to look like I've made a wheelbarrow full, but it will collapse down once it's sat in the dressing for a bit, but it would serve 6 people, 2 bundles for 6 people. So 1 little bundle is going pretty far. Okay, so this is in fact 2 of these right here already chopped. We're good to go. I have my bucket of Savoy cabbage here. I wanted Napa cabbage, couldn't find it. It just wasn't available. Never shop on a Monday, just saying. Okay, so I've kind of shredded, but truly, okay, I went the extra mile because I was doing this very methodically, preparing for this workshop tonight. But you could, in a pinch, if your life is way busier than mine, or it's just a busy work night, you've got kids, you're homeschooling, go buy yourself one of those broccoli slaws or kale, Brussels sprout slaw bags, and just pitch the dressing or set it aside for another day. And even the nuts, or you could use them. Sometimes they come with nuts and crunchy things and whatever, but we've done all of that here. I just went and pre-shredded stuff so that this would be beautiful and colorful. So I have my slaw, and then I have a little bit of a purple cabbage just for color. I'm gonna dump that in. You want a pound of veggies total, but it can be anything really you want. I just realized I completely forgot the snow peas. Who cares, right? I have here shredded carrots. All I've done, I peeled my carrots and then I took the peeler and peeled them into little ribbons. So I could have chopped them, but that's too much work. I didn't need to do that. I'm gonna do the same with my peppers. I have a couple of baby bell peppers. I went red and orange just to have even more color. And then I'm gonna stop here and make my dressing. Just wanted to show you that this is literally one of those dump recipes. I am a fan of those. I like fiddly recipes too, but not on camera. Okay. And while Karen was doing her recipe, I did slice my chicken, so it's ready to go. We'll come back for that after. But let's go to the dressing. Let me double check my recipe. I have everything here. It's really hard. I don't have the right place to put everything in my kitchen. So whatever we have, it could have been olive, it could have been avocado. Whoops, I just lost a little of my rice vinegar. That's okay. I'll pour more in. I use rice vinegar. Could have been apple cider vinegar, your choice. You could go with citrus juice as well if you want to do freshly squeezed. That's really nice. It's just a little more acidic. So I prefer the rice vinegar or the apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to try not to trip on my rice vinegar, which is on my floor. And I'm going to pour that in with the avocado oil. So that was 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna do a free pour just because I can. This is toasted sesame oil. Pour that in. Let's call that a tablespoon. Today it is. All right. Next up, we're gonna do much the same as before. We're gonna use my my husband's Nana's cute little mini chop. I have ginger here. This is organic ginger, so it's super small. It's fresh. I like the small ones. They're less stringy. I'm going to do the real cheater version. I'm not even peeling it. You really don't have to. If you're going to mince really well, just chop it. Make sure you cut through those strings. So cut through it lengthwise. So now it's like in big fat coins. And I'm just going to throw that right into that little chopper. You could use, and I pulled all these out for you to see. You could use a chili paste if you want spicy. I'm going to go one better and just go throw the whole chili right in. It's going to go in the mix. I have 2 garlic cloves here. Listen, this is my house. We can make it as spicy as we want. Or not at all. So just remember, when it comes to cooking, it's not like baking. There's no hard and fast rules. You don't like my recipe, change it. I won't be offended. Just don't tell me. Just kidding. Okay, so it's all going in. I didn't even chop the chili. I could have. I'm not even going to. I'm not usually this lazy, but just, you know, to respect your time, we're cutting some corners. So I'm off camera. I'm going to turn this around so you can see me. Come on over here to there we go. Another part of my kitchen. It's making my kitchen look so big. It is not big. I dream of the day I'll have a bigger kitchen so I can actually cook with a friend. Isn't this thing great? I love it. Best ever. You think guys like toys? I love my toys. Okay, back to my dressing, which I need to look at my recipe again. Calls for, so a tablespoon of either soy sauce or tamari. You could use Japanese shoyu, really whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and use that tamari again. So that's all going in. This is going to be so gingery. Awesome. You could, again, gild the lily and add ginger essential oil, but that's actually a lot of ginger. I don't think I'm going to need it today. My husband would beg to differ. Okay. So let me grab my soy sauce. We'll come back over here. Yeah. And I will add my tablespoon. In here, there's also a half teaspoon of salt. I'm calling that a tablespoon. Just go with me. Half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of pepper. I freshly ground those. I do like that. I think it's so much nicer to freshly grind your pepper. If you buy this stuff that's pre-ground, pepper has essential oils in it, right? We have a black pepper essential oil. Those oils dry up over time. So your dried spices, if you've had them longer than 6 months, take a good sniff. If they smell like pencil shavings, it's time to retool. I really love bulk stores for that. So you don't have to buy a great big bag of cloves when you only need, you know, a tiny, tiny amount. I have some sliced green onions. And then I am supposed to be mincing the white parts. So let's do that fast. You will see my turbo chopping. I have toasted some sesame seeds for this. And I'm posting this recipe, so please don't feel like you need to frantically write down all my information. You'll have everything you need. So I'm sorry I can't tilt my camera down, but just for the sake of time, it was a quick mince on my green onions. I'm going to do the same with cilantro. In my recipe, I wrote in there that you could use Italian parsley or mint if you hate cilantro, because I know there's haters out there. I love cilantro. It's going in. It calls for a cup. Sounds like a lot, but remember the size of the bowl of slaw. And this really provides a green pop that's wonderful. Another hack, if you only have access to parsley, maybe your cilantro's just wilted on you, or you just don't want to buy a whole bunch, but you do have parsley, curly or flat, you could do that in a drop of cilantro essential oil. It's like you had cilantro. I've done it. I have. Generally speaking, I make sure I have everything I need because I'm one of those from scratch kind of people. Like, we have all kinds of base ingredients here, as you saw, like only 6 or 7 kinds of soy sauce in my house. But you know, we're big on condiments. Okay, I've just done a rough chop here. Let me just tilt down. You can see, there we go. I did my chop, and I'm just going to throw that right in my bowl. And then we're gonna add the dressing. It's that simple. These aren't really complicated recipes. They just take time if you want to do the chopping. And if you don't, just buy yourself those premixes. Here go the noodles. They're going in. This is gonna be interesting. I should put a lid on and shake it. That'd be like the ultimate inconvenience. I'm gonna grab a spoon. Mix up my dressing. Can you see this in the bowl? Yeah, okay. And I might actually shake it, but I'll get the tongs first. Okay. And no, I'm gonna put the lid on. That's not happening. Where is my lid? It was here somewhere. I've walked off with it. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna go ahead and toss. I'll find the lid later. Maybe somebody can chit chat for a second while I go find my lid and do a toss, just so we can put this together. Either that, or somebody, if anyone has questions,
Can
feel
I jump?
free to unmute yourselves.
I'll jump in just for a quick second.
Yeah, thanks.
And obviously if there's questions. So one thing I neglected to mention is the whey protein powder, the chocolate whey protein. I mentioned every single ingredient except for the whey protein powder. And the reason why was because I didn't want to open the bag, make a mess while I was on camera, because that happened to me once already. So I included the protein powder in with the cocoa powder. It was one big protein scoop. That's it. Just one scoop for that whole recipe. And I thought I was going to have a mess with it. So it is included in the cocoa powder that I did. So I just thought I'd, mention that. They finished. So while Joanne is doing that, I'll show you. They're cooling right now. So they're a lot hot, actually. They're very hot to touch. But there they are. Very, very simple. And here's the finished cooled version that I'm going to bite right now and show you. They're very soft, very smooth, very easy to eat a bunch too. So
For
They
sure.
look good.
there you have it.
So I made some on the weekend, and it goes to show you that there's real chemistry involved in baking, because I have farm fresh eggs, and all my eggs are really large, like they're large, pushing extra large. And I tried to take the two smallest ones, but there was still a little more moisture, and I wish I'd given thought to that, because I probably could have pulled down the sweetener a little bit. And what happened is my oven does cook at perfect temperature, but at that time I probably should have left it in an extra few minutes. I left mine 1 extra minute because they looked a little under. They looked beautiful when they came out, but when they cooled, the very dome top was almost a little bit pudding soft. You know what I mean? Like it was a little wet. Now I don't mind that. I'm big on the underbaked cookies, so it didn't bother me at all, but I would probably maybe leave an extra minute or make that adjustment with the eggs. Okay, so I'm not gonna go crazy on this, but you can see that it's nicely combined. It smells fantastic. And overnight, or even over the course of an hour or two, some of that cabbage will release a little bit of its liquid, so there'd actually be a little more dressing than it looks like. It didn't seem like a lot of liquid in that dressing, for sure, but it will become a little juicier and all the flavors will combine. And I'm going to put some in my bowl, and then I'm going to top it with some chopped peanuts and some freshly roasted sesame seeds, just for a beautiful touch. But I'm going to do that just because I'm putting it together with the chicken. I'm going to do that on top of the chicken, just so that it all looks really beautiful together. If peanuts aren't your thing, by all means, use cashews, use almonds, use nothing. Whatever works for you. I like crunchy textures, and I like that sort of, that little bite of richness that goes with it. And okay, so that's plenty right now. Just a little more greenery. It's a little more. This bowl's mine. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so I'm next going to lay my chicken on top. Please pardon my fingers, but I'm going to do this really quickly for you. I'm going to lay maybe 6 slices across the top. And then what I could do, this wasn't called for, but this is my addition, was juice a lime. So limes, if they're room temp, it's better. Give them a roll before you cut them into wedges or into whatever halves, because more juice will come out. It's so frustrating when you open up, particularly limes, and there's not one drop of juice in them. Devastating and very frustrating. So my husband's trick is to roll them. You can put them in the microwave for a few seconds too, warm them up. It will help release the juice. But what I'm doing to that is I'm going to add some lime essential oil because I can. So I'm going to put 4 drops in because it would typically serve the entire 2.5 pounds of chicken. And that's something that could either go into the salad or get drizzled on top, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a little drizzle like that. And this is a meal in a bowl. That's dinner. You got your starch, lots of veggies, and some nicely grilled, lean, very, very tasty chicken. I would prefer thighs for this recipe. I just thought it was easier for a uniform size and thickness to go with the chicken breast. Thighs stay super juicy, and if you're marinating overnight, they hold up really, really well. So with any marinade that has acid in it, don't marinate this for more than 24 hours, or it'll start to break the chicken down. The same way using citrus oils can help degrease. The acid in the citrus juice will begin to break down meats. If you've ever been to a restaurant where the meat is a little bit slimy, like it has a funny spongy texture, there's a chemical reaction happening there over time, and it's actually breaking it down. So there you go. This only marinated about 6 hours, but the rest of my chicken is going to sit overnight and be even better tomorrow. So I am going to open it up to questions. Oh, I forgot my peanuts. Hold it. Freshly roasted peanuts, just a few. We'll sprinkle on top. This is feeling very much like a restaurant meal. And this is as good as it gets right now, right? Because most of our restaurants are either closed or takeout only. And I'm not loving takeout these days. So there we go. I love sesame seeds. And then I always advise taste everything and then adjust. You might want more salt, you might want more sweet, you might want more sesame or more chilies. And that's it. That's our meal in a bowl. Let's open up to questions. I know that went super fast. I do have my recipes fully typed up. And the nutrition ebook, if it wasn't provided in the event link, we can send that out or make it available or tell you where to find it right on doTERRA.com. Any questions from anybody? Everybody's like, wow, I gotta go to bed. You can come clean.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we're coming over.
It's 9 o'clock.
No, we're not.
It's too late for me to eat.
Oh, that looks so good.
I'm not sure I'll be awake for my 8 a.m. Zoom tomorrow if I eat dinner now.
How would that keep? Like if you had leftovers, how do you think
Oh,
that
well,
would?
there will be leftovers, unless you'd
Yeah.
like some of this too.
Sure.
Maybe so. The slaw will be okay tomorrow. It'll be more wilty. It will be edible the next day, but my advice would be like really, I wouldn't keep it more than an extra day, probably. And not because it'll be bad, just because it'll start to get weepy. You know what I mean? It'll look like coleslaw, like real coleslaw. It'll have reduced by half, and you'll wonder who got up in the middle of the night and ate half of it. And as for the chicken, chicken's great as a leftover, but in this scenario, like with 2 of us, I could have either made half a recipe, or I could have grilled half one day and grilled half the next day if we wanted it hot and fresh. It's pretty amenable. Could have done this with tofu. If you really press the tofu, I would marinate that very well. It would work with pork. It would probably work with beef. I've never tried it with beef, but could. And if you want to get more creative than that, let me know. Could do it. You could do shrimps. Like if you want to do fish or seafood, you can. I just would not marinate as long. If you go fish or seafood, 30 minutes in that marinade. That's it. Otherwise, these are going to turn it into ceviche. It's going to cook it in the acid. That's another show, people. All right, any questions? I don't see anything in the chat. So if anybody wants to unmute themselves, please don't be shy. I'm gonna
I just
clean
wanted
up.
to say mine just came out of the oven and boy, does it ever smell good.
Man. So did you make it? I was busy grilling. Did you make yours with the chocolate chips this time?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know how that would go with something sour like cranberries or like
Yeah.
goji berries or something. That would be really good, especially if you're trying to stay away from chocolate.
You can ask me tomorrow because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be baking all of these things tomorrow. No
or
work
tonight.
tomorrow.
We did well. It's 9:01, and we started what about 8:05. So I mean, it would be great to wrap up within the hour. But if there's anything that was less than clear, you can ask, or even questions about substitutions, the nutrition products. There are PDFs available of the full ingredient lists. And I have to say, I'm really pleasantly surprised by the vegan protein. It's a little grittier than the other two, but nothing like the Vega products that I used to buy that have some strange texture. They have a texture like ground up vitamins.
Mhm.
No, so kind of yucky. Nothing yucky about these, and I would quite gladly bake with them or unbake, as the case may be. So that's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. No questions. We've left them wanting nothing.
I look forward
So we're
to seeing what
serious,
kind
guys.
of other recipes that they'll come up with for these as time goes on. I'm sure doTERRA will come up with some other cool
Oh,
recipes.
guess what? I totally forgot. In my dressing, I had been planning to use the tropical cuisine blend, but that's okay. I can add it in afterward. It won't matter. So that's in a coconut oil base. And it has orange, lemon, lime, grapefruit, green mandarin, bergamot, yuzu, which is another citrus, and a hint of ylang ylang, which is lovely. I am finding now that I've opened them, I'm keeping them in the fridge because they're in a base. The Italian's in olive oil, the tropical is in coconut oil, and the Mexican one is in avocado oil. And those could become rancid if you don't use them like within 6 months or so. So keeping them in the fridge, I think they'd be good for a year. It says that the expiry date on mine is 2023, October. Normally, I don't even regard expiry dates, but with a cold pressed citrus oil or anything that has a carrier that could be kind of that could go off, I wouldn't plan to keep these more than a year. So start working through them. I'm gonna add it in now because I want it there. Yeah, these are fun. I've been playing with them. Has anybody played with their cuisine oils?
Mhm. I love the Mexican one. Absolutely love it. It just elevates. Oh, my.
I put a few drops of my Mexican one in some salt,
Yeah,
and so I can just just hit it at the end. Did you like my sound?
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
I've
And
used
the
the tropical in my
It's
smoothie.
beautiful. Like in a finishing, a really good quality olive oil, you could put a couple drops of the Italian blend in that and then just drizzle on your salad because it's pretty potent. It's really strong.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Debbie was just saying she uses the tropical one in her smoothie.
Yeah, it's actually really turned me on to ylang ylang as an internal oil. I really hadn't thought about it until somebody mentioned that it has some really incredible health benefits, and I thought, wow, that's really weird. But now every day I'm putting a drop of ylang ylang with a whole bunch of drops of citrus in a carbonated water, and it's pretty tasty. It's almost like like pop soda.
Interesting.
I really want to eat this bowl right now.
You guys did a great job.
I still have about 20 balls to roll. You take the whole till tomorrow?
In the chat asked if this would be available. Carla made a comment in the chat
Yes.
saying it's a great cooking session. We were all so enjoyable to watch. Will the recording be sent out?
Yes, it will be sent out tomorrow. I'm not going to promise the morning, but it will be sent out tomorrow for sure to the same email address that you registered with.
Is there any way we can email, like attach the recipes to it and the ebook? I mean, I know
I
that's
can
a
try.
lot. We can
Yeah,
try.
no.
If not, we'll make it available somehow.
Yeah, exactly. We can figure it out for sure. We can do that.
I sent the ebook out, the link out with my invitation.
Perfect. It was in I know I posted it as well with the invite. in the Lemon Drop group and the For the Love of Oil.
Yeah.
So it's available for sure. We can get that to people.
For those still on camera, it's already starting to tamp down.
So good.
Yeah, it smells good.
Yeah, I'm going to be adding that to my menu.
I never cleaned up the rice vinegar on the floor, so I probably should put the light on and see what kind of disaster zone
We would have never known if you didn't tell us.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know. I'm just honest to a fault at the wrong times.
This was fun. This was fun. We should do this again. We'll have to do it with some other recipes or I don't know,
I would,
some DIYs
yeah.
or something.
I've thought about doing a cooking series, but it's very overwhelming when you don't have the ability to pre-record and just cut to finished products and whatever. That kind of makes me nervous. But now that we've done it, and it was a lot of fun, and I think enjoyable to watch. Hopefully, I'll let you know after I watch the replay. I'd love to do these as a series, just maybe outside of our continuing ed. Like maybe we just every now and again offer a nighttime workshop or a weekend workshop, whoever wants to come. And maybe if they let us out of, pandemic jail, we'll do some of these in person one day together, side by side, actually chopping and getting our hands dirty.
Sounds fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Ooh. Sorry,
Who's barking? Everybody has dogs now.
my crazy dog.
So,
All right, I think we're good
right.
to say good night. Thank you, ladies. This was awesome.